Let's review the new and returning mechanics featured in the newest expansion of Magic the Gathering, Phyrexia, All Will Be One. Up first is Toxic. Creatures in this set will have the ability Toxic followed by a number, for example, Stinging Hivemaster. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, they also get a single poison counter. Notice their power and toxic number are not always the same and will not change as the creature's power changes. Creatures with toxic are present in all colors except red, but heavily concentrated in white, black, and green. So what is a poison counter? These are important for two reasons. First, if a player receives 10 poison counters, they lose the game. Second, it enables the mechanic we're going to cover next, Corrupted. Corrupted is an ability word that says if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, the card comes with an additional effect or bonus of some kind, and they are usually very powerful. For example, we have Distorted Curiosity, that goes from a divination, a very average playable, to an absolutely busted card, letting you draw 2 cards for 1 mana. Or Incisor Glider, that once your opponent is corrupted, pumps your whole team whenever it attacks. Corrupted is heavily concentrated in the Esper colors, white, blue, and black. Next up are oil counters, primarily concentrated in the Temur colors, blue, red, and green. A variety of cards enter the battlefield with oil counters on them, and they can then be spent for a variety of effects. For example, you can remove an oil counter from Furnace Strider to give another creature haste, but Trawler Drake gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. Most cards include ways to add oil counters to them, such as Atmosphere Surgeon. However, there are also a few ways to add oil counters to other cards, such as Ickerplate Golem and Free from Flesh. You can also add counters with the next mechanic in the set, Proliferate. Proliferate says choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there. This is primarily in Sultai colors, blue, black, and green. Proliferate is tacked on to other cards that you are likely already happy to play, but if you can get value from the Proliferate, they become quite powerful, such as Mesmerizing Dose and Drown in Ichor. We will be aiming to proliferate our poison counters from Toxic and our oil counters. With these mechanics in mind, it is very important that we find a way to quickly get 1 poison counter on our opponent as early in the game as possible, and cards that enable us to do this will be quite good. And of course, we want to prevent our opponent from doing the same to us. The difference between 0 and 1 poison counter will be huge. For this reason, blocking in the early game will be especially important. By keeping our opponent off of their first poison counter, we significantly reduce the power of their Proliferate cards and make it much less likely they can enable Corrupted and power up all of their stuff. With Proliferate in mind, it may also be wise in certain situations to not use up the last oil counter on a creature, knowing you may have ways in your deck to get more on future turns. Our last mechanic is 4 Mirrodin. These are equipment cards that come into play attached to a 2/2 Rebel creature token, for example, Barbed Batterfist. After the creature dies, you of course are left with the equipment that can be attached elsewhere. Now that you know the mechanics for All Will Be One, watch this video next to see my picks for the best commons from the new set, or watch the full draft guide here. If you get some value from this, it really helps the channel if you hit the like button down below, and please consider subscribing so you're notified when I release more limited strategy videos just like this. Thanks for watching.